Hello, I'm John. I've just finished the first class in a series of 4 with US artist Cindy Briggs. We're doing a portrait in watercolor, and the first class that we've just finished was all about understanding and learning about the values, the lights and darks of the painting. We actually did a sepia tone portrait and looked through all the different theory-based things, and it builds up over the weeks so that by the end you'll have a complete watercolor portrait. It's broken down so that you can follow step by step. Cindy's a brilliant tutor and all the participants really enjoyed it. If you want to take part, it's not too late. If you sign up for the series, you get access to the videos anyway. So for the class that you've just missed, you'll get the video, you can follow along and then join in next week. Or if we're a bit further along, you can get the videos of all the classes that you've missed up until that point. It's a great price to go and check it out on the link. But in the meantime, I just wanted to give you a few little clips from this first class just to whet your appetite. I hope you can join us.
Hi, I'm glad to be here, John, and excited to paint a portrait. It's one of my favorite topics.
And
I'm
I
here.
understand with Goldie, this subject, you've painted her both in watercolor and oils in the past.
I have. I picked her because I think seeing a portrait face on is a great way to start.
Yeah.
Um, Goldie, she's a model, and what I've done is broken it down so that it's very doable in the time that we have. And you may end up just watching and painting later or paint along. What I hope that you had ready for today is this printout, because we'll be doing a pencil value study. And then I also traced out this onto a piece of watercolor paper, which I'll be painting. This will have you go from here to here to here.
And I find it amazing how totally dramatically the changes as soon as you add the shadow, because it looks so flat that you haven't really put any outlines on that. The outlines were already there, but it looks so flat before. But now that you've put those shadows on, it's totally transformed that sketch, hasn't it?
Doesn't it? I know it's exciting. I love values. If you can get the values right and the shapes right, it really doesn't matter what color you use. So that's an important part of learning to paint the portrait. I wish I had done this when I started. I jumped right in with all color, but I've learned when I paint a one color value study, there's one, here's another one. It really prepares me to paint the portrait, and
Yeah.
that's where we're going next.
Yeah.
Why do you want our paints dry? Um, what I find is, especially with people who are newer to painting watercolors, if you paint with paint fresh out of the tube, it's a little harder to work with. So if you have paint that just came out of the tube, just use a little bit of it and mix a puddle on your palette, because it's goopy. It's harder to work with. So if you let your paints dry after you've squeezed them in, they're more manageable. That's a good question there.
Evie's asked, does cream need to stay transparent or block out everything like acrylic?
Creamy is pretty thick. It's really not transparent when you get to cream. And so most paintings just have a little bit of this, maybe for some of the details on the eye. You know, where do I use cream? Hardly anywhere. If there's a little bit, I keep it pretty transparent all the way through. But possibly in the pupil, when I get dark, it'll get a little thicker. there's within each of these, there's a range. So if you can stay in this range for most of the painting, even in here, you're going to do really well. When you start painting up here, you lose the transparency and your painting can get a little thick and heavy. Good questions. Since this is my first workshop with John, I've been teaching for 25 years at least. And I was online teaching before the pandemic. And I just connected with John and I thought he's so nice. And I like what he's doing for artists and for teachers, bringing us together, different parts of the country. And so I'm really grateful that you're here painting with me and giving us a try. All right.
Thank you,
So,
Cindy. I'm glad the camera's not on me. You'd see me blushing.
oh, okay. All right.
No, and
So,
it's great to find you, and it was nice that you reached out to us because we hosted was it Janine Galizia
yeah,
over in
you
France,
wrote with
and you
me.
took part in that class, and you said, oh, maybe you can feature me, and more than happy. That
It's just meant to be a study, give you a running start on how to manipulate the paint. There's a hard edge. I want to soften that. I use a thirsty brush there. Now I'm painting with Fabriano paper and it lifts the paint pretty easily. What I can't do now is go into here because it's damp and I need to leave it alone. So at this stage, she's barely starting to develop, but she's going to come together. How is that? Barely dry. Maybe what I'll do, just to get some other value shapes in, is paint this big shape under her neck and her hair.
And I guess with this value study, you've just got to bear this in mind. Maybe even have it in front of you when you're doing the main portrait,
Mhm.
because this is what you'll be referring to remind you of where the lights and shades are.
Absolutely. Value studies make such a difference because when you're looking at color, you can get lost in thinking about color. But if you
Mm.
can get this, you get used to thinking, oh, I know it's darker here. And oh, look, I've got a little bit of a shadow under her nose. And those shapes are what are going to hold together your portrait.
No,
I'm
that was really useful and a really great exercise for everybody to do as the first session of these four. If you've got any questions that you want me to put to Cindy, please write that down. Or if you want to have a chat, you just raise your
oh,
hand.
I'd love for them to hold up what they've done if
Oh yeah,
they
there you go. Let's see whether we
yeah,
can.
if you even if you just have the pencil value steady, hold it up.
There we
Oh,
go. Right,
wonderful.
Margie.
Wow, those are fabulous.
Um, Jessica, Cindy said, thanks, Cindy, and thanks, John. Love your instruction. Lenny said, wonderful. Thank you, Cindy. I love this approach with four lessons building onto each other. Carl said, this hour went by so fast. Portraits are new to me, and you're such a great teacher. Thank
Oh,
you. Connie said, thanks, Cindy. Um, Avi said, thank you for the lesson and the handouts. Connie said, too fast, too fast. I know it did. But thank you, Cindy.
thank you, John, and thanks to everybody who joined us today. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next week.
Yes, yes, so am I. Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of your day and a nice weekend.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.